to our 27th episode of Black Dance Stories and our month of stories by performers, educators. Here's a note about why we are here. Our dance world was pummeled by COVID 19, and Black dance artists are finding ways to talk about life during this time. Our world was further turned upside down after horrible events ensued nationally and globally, bringing attention yet again to the need for the Black Lives Matter movement. Black dance artists have not been quiet since. Black dance artists have been doing the work. Black dance artists continue to make work. To stay involved, we hold these weekly impromptu discussions and tell stories. Black dance stories. This is one action, and we will stay involved. We are a community working together to support, uphold, highlight, and celebrate Black creatives. Tonight is our 27th episode of what we hope will be many stories told in the artist's own voices. Tonight, it's Torya Baird, Vincent Thomas, and Deidre Dawkins' turn. Please meet some of our BDS team, and I will go first. I am Charmaine Warren. I am a Jamaican. I am the great granddaughter of Ida Boyd, granddaughter of Solomon Goldson and Ruby Chapman, and one of 9 children by Theophilus Warren and my 95-year-old mother, Pearline Warren, who lives in Jamaica. I am a non-disabled Black woman. With the utmost respect to the Native people, I acknowledge that I live on the stolen land of the indigenous Lenape people, now known as Montclair, New Jersey, with my husband, photographer and graphic artist Tony Turner. Our daughter, Ashay Turner, a Black ballerina with locks, is in her junior year at Boston Conservatory. I have locks that are wrapped on top of my head in a colorful gele. I'm wearing a long sleeve denim blouse and blue and white earrings with cowrie shells on the ends. Behind me are photos of our family, a large plant, a lamp, and African masks. Happy Black Dance Stories to our friends, old and new, and it's so glad. I'm so glad because it's so good to be with all of you behind the camera and in front of the camera each week. Thank you for helping to make this possible. I turn it over to Kimani.
Thank you, Charmaine. Welcome back, y'all. It's another great Thursday night. And in the words of Gloria Grimes, delicious, delightful, dancing night. The importance of acknowledging our familial and dance legacies is an essential tradition. With deep respect and honor, I acknowledge the Lene Lenape, whose stolen land I am zooming from, currently known as the village of Harlem. I am a Black, non-disabled woman, and I live with my 10-year-old son. I am sitting in my dining room. I have a golden low-cut hairstyle. I'm wearing a blue long sleeve shirt with a gray hoodie sweater-like, and with my large BDS silver hoop earrings. I am the granddaughter of Lucille Madison, a wise and giving English professor. I teach because of her. Daughter of Ronald Augustus Fowlin, Jamaican warrior and gourmet chef, and Anne Fowlin, rebel and Renaissance woman. I dance because of them. My son Tamayo keeps me present as I witness this growing boy, and I am in awe of his amazing talent and blossoming spirit, and loud spirit, I should say. With that, I turn it over to Maki.
Thank you, Kimani. My name is Makeda Lily Nwabunkosi Margie Rose Roni. My nickname is Maki. I am in this human experience as a non-disabled Black Indigenous American woman. Pronouns she, her, and they in acknowledgement of my ancestors and spirit team that is all around me and that is also me. Mm-hmm. I come from a long generational line of artists and energetic intuitives on both my maternal and paternal lines. The Love Roni line, which extends through so many powerful people, names, and ancestors that I send my love and gratitude to every day by just being here. I am the daughter of Nia Love and Antoine Roney, sister of Kojo Roney, Zipporah Roney, and Turquoise Love. I'm also an auntie and a dancer and me. I acknowledge that I live on the land of the earth, Mama Gaia, which is also once respectfully and harmoniously occupied by the Lenape people, now known as Harlem, New York, where I was also raised. I am a life, body, soul alchemist, which I turn into what we call art, poetry, whatever else my soul is called to channel and express love, light, and truth. I am sitting in my loft bedroom on a love seat. Behind me are beautiful, abundant plants. I am wearing a black shirt that has a little turtleneck and shoulder cutouts. I'm wearing some dangly gold earrings and a gold necklace with my hair curly and down. And I pass it to Kimani.
So I would like to acknowledge our beautiful BDS family that are presently behind the camera. We have Renee Redding Jones, Director of Finance and Development, Cynthia Tate, publicist, Tony Turner, BDS graphic artist, Gabe De Coladenu, BDS web designer, Caitlin Chandler, video tech expert, Antonio Burkert, ASL interpreter, who is in charge of the wonderful interpreters that we have, and Makeda Smith, digital media director, Rebecca Carew, the development consultant, Kojo Roney, Everett Saunders. They are our BDS theme music and the family that keeps growing. So we hope that you will consider donating to BDS. And with that, I will turn it back to Makeda.
Yes. So, as Kimani was saying, community is such a big part of Black dance stories.
Yeah.
So, we want to know who is watching tonight. Drop some comments in the chat. Say hello, where you're watching from.
Yes,
Feel free to engage and ask some questions, share some love. Follow us on our social media. Our Instagram is at Black Dance Stories. Our Twitter is at BLK Dance Stories. And most importantly, subscribe to our YouTube channel, which you are on. If you haven't already, we have a huge goal of making it to 1,000 subscribers and more, but 1,000 is the goal right now, and we can't do that without your help and your community. So please subscribe, please follow us, and share with your community. We have a subscriber Sunday, which is on that we have on our social media. So look out for that. It's a day where we illuminate our amazing community and encourage more people to be a part of it. Lastly, make sure to like and subscribe, like and comment on this video and share some love. Without your interactions we won't be here. So passing it on to Kimani.
So our BDS team will continue to stand in solidarity with our sisters and brothers in Africa and all over the world, with all those who want an immediate end to systemic racism.
That's right.
So please do your part, please. And with that, I turn it back to Makeda.
Wow. I just want to say that it's been a very heavy and tiring energy lately within the collective for so many reasons, but one being such intense planetary energy that's happening in the sky. So I just wanted to send love to everyone, remind us all that connecting with our joy, our ease, and our rest is so necessary and so radical. taking care of ourselves is as a priority, reminding ourselves that we are human, as well as taking the time to find beauty and lightness. Even the things that are most heavy is such a beautiful, profound, those are such beautiful, profound practices to locate in our everydays, as it assists our uplifting of our personal energy and vibration, and which in turn ripples out to uplift the collective energy and vibration. And so I just wanted to share that, leveling up collective consciousness and empowerment. And without further ado, everyone grab yourself some wine, some water, some tea, your cup of happy smiles, and let's cheer to Black Dance Stories.
Cheers. You better preach. You better preach, Makeda.
Y'all out there, if you didn't notice, we work together. We're a collective and we're lifting each other up. Thank you, Maki. Thank you, Kimani. They're going to go away for a little while. And we know you're here to see our beautiful guests. See you two in just a minute. And it's time to bring in Torya. Torya, come on in and say hello to the people. Hi, beautiful.
Hi.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Wait.
One of my beverages.
I said, Torya, what are you drinking? She said, I have all the drinks. Show them, Torya. I thought there were 3. See now. What?
I don't know. I needed energy. I was nervous, so I needed to be calm. I want to be hydrated. You know, you have to.
But you can't go to the bathroom while you're doing your talk.
No, I won't.
So introduce yourself.
Okay. First of all, I want to say thank you to you, Charmaine, and to the whole Black Dance Stories team. This is such a beautiful collective doing beautiful work, and I appreciate you all so much. So my name is Toria Beard. I use he, her, hers pronouns, and I am a Black woman with shoulder-length locks. My hair is shaved all the way around except in the top, and it's like a bluish purple color. I am wearing a very brightly colored, multicolored jacket over a black t-shirt. I am sitting in my living room, in my dining room, in my home that I share with my beautiful and talented wife, Ayodele Cassell. I would also like to humbly acknowledge that I live on land that was stolen from the Lenape people here in New Jersey. I was born in Detroit, Michigan, on this land that was stolen from the Meskwaki people. And though this acknowledgement is sincere, I know this is just one of many steps. I have recently embarked on my own educational journey so that I can learn more and be better and stand stronger with Native and First Nations people and Indigenous people as they do the work to disrupt the harm and the silencing and the erasure that they are experiencing and have experienced. A little bit about my family, because I think that's a good place to start. My mother, Valerie Payne Foster, my father, Charles Beard. My mother, I just love her to death. She, along with my grandmother, Mary Payne, always encouraged me to follow my curiosity, to live out my dreams, and to be as bold as possible. So I'm very grateful for that. My father, Charles Beard, is such a gentle soul and just a loving, caring person. He is a musician. My Aunt Hermione is a singer. I grew up with music always playing. My maternal grandmother is Mary Payne. She loved to party. She loved to entertain. I think that's where I get it from because I love a party. And my grandfather, Charles Payne, actually worked in marketing, which is where I first heard that term growing up, and I ended up pursuing a similar path much later on in life. My paternal grandparents were Charles Beard and Clara Beard, and Charles was a fierce, how should I say it? He was an activist. He was fiercely protective of his family and really committed to justice for Black people. I have two brothers, Chester Moon III and Timothy Julian Beard. I also grew up with an aunt that is a little bit younger than me. Her name is Lisa, and my cousin Mallory, who we called Squeak, and they were like my other siblings. So I really feel like I grew up with four siblings. What else can I tell you? I think I've been thinking about this all day and just, I guess, thinking about like how I grew up and where it shows up in my life and in my career and the way I approach my dancing and the work I do today. And I feel like everybody that I've named gave me so much support, and also their teachings made it so that I can walk through the world with confidence, and I'm very grateful for that. Let me see. I just want to show this book because my Aunt Vanessa gave this to me. She loaned it to me as a Christmas gift. And this was written by one of my ancestors who was on my mother's side, my grandmother's side. This book, Yesterday's Was Tomorrow, is quite thick, and the print is quite small, but I am so excited to read it and to learn more about where I come from and this side of my family. So
don't forget the author.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, that would be really important. John L. Stewart. My grandmother's maiden name was Stewart, and John Stewart was from Stewart County, Tennessee. My grandmother grew up in Clarksville, Tennessee. My mother grew up in Indianapolis, and that's kind of John, and there's a lot of Indianapolis, Tennessee, back and forth, and a little bit of New York in there too. So I'll come back to you once I read that and I know a lot more. So when I was thinking about what to share today, all of a sudden my brain just got really full and things just started, swirling around, and I couldn't land on anything. But what I think I want to talk about, or what I am going to talk about, is how my relationship with my artistry, I guess, and how has taken me down many different roads. And all of those roads have led me back to dancing. So I grew up being obsessed with dance. I loved it so much, but the only thing I had ever seen were like pictures of ballerinas, which I adored. I loved it. I couldn't wait to get into dance class. I started dancing at Ziggy Johnson School of Dance, which was in Detroit, and jazz, tap, and ballet. Later on, I took modern when I was a little bit older. I then just participated in many programs, summer programs where I got paid to dance, to learn how to dance. Andrea Haynes Johnson was my teacher in that summer program. And then there was a period in time where we could not afford dance lessons anymore. So I just would watch things on TV and teach myself in my living room. And I did that for years. And then I saw Fame, and that totally changed my life. I was so excited. So much so that I used to dress up like Debbie Allen to go to school. I went to not a performing arts high school. I went to a regular high school. And I used to wear my whole leotard, tights, leg warmers, ballet shoes around my school. I wore point shoes to the homecoming dance in a dress that I had designed, that actually one of my classmates made for me, because I was just so committed. But that was really, I used to spend a lot of time drawing because I thought I wanted to be a designer. And I realized that drawing didn't bring me joy, and it wasn't immediately accessible to me. So I kind of let that go, but I still, as Deidre can attest to, I still feel like the way I dress is a huge part of my self-expression. I find joy in it, and it's just something that I haven't let go of. So then I decided to go to college for dance. With my dances that I made up in my living room, with my self-taught, with my self-taught ability skills, and I went to audition for the University of Michigan, and I had never been in an audition environment before like that, and I was the only Black girl or woman person, only Black person in the room, and I was so intimidated. So I took the modern part, which was at the top of the day, and when it was time for ballet, I left. My friend Jill Flowers had graduated a year before me and was already at Michigan, and I was staying with her. So I just went back to her dorm room and got in the bed. She came in and she was like, "What are you doing in here?" And I was like, "I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm not good enough. I can't." She was like, "You better get up and go back over there." So I went back to the building. I got there just in time to do my solo, and I did not get in to the dance department. But my godmother, who is incredible, Michelle Coleman Mays, was a graduate of Michigan. And she said, "Well, why don't you just switch your application over to the liberal arts department," which I did. And I started as a freshman English major. But I signed up for dance classes right away. So my first semester, I was taking like non-major dance classes, and I saw a sign saying audition for the student showcase. And I was like, I'll do that. So I got into the student showcase. The chairman of the dance department came to me after that showcase and said, "You're really great dancer. Would you like to be a dance major?" And I said, "Yes, I would. I auditioned to be a dance major." And I did not get in. So after my first semester, I became a dance major. So that was a very interesting and eventful couple of years at Michigan, or many years. I did my senior year as a dancer in Cleo Parker Robinson Dance Ensemble. And part of the deal was I had to teach. So Cleo gave me some classes so that I could fulfill that requirement, teach and choreograph. And the rest is history. I mean, that experience was so formative for me because I got a chance to work with so many people that I ended up working with after that. That is where I met Kevin Aiga Jeff. That is where I met Donald Byrd. I got to work with Keith Lee, Donald McHale, Elio Pomare. It was Dwight Roden. It was amazing. I got to meet and work with all of them. And then a lot of them I ended up working with again much later. And I went and I did a lot of company work. I moved to Chicago and I danced with Joseph Holmes Chicago Dance Theater under Randy Duncan, who was the choreographer then. And then I auditioned for Joseph Holmes Chicago Dance Theater under the artistic direction of Kevin Aiga Jeff. And that was when I had my first, I think it was my first real interaction with Deidre, because I had seen her dance before and I was just blown away by Jubilation. I was like, oh, that's what I want to do, you know? And that audition, when I auditioned, I was the only person that went from Joseph Holmes to Joseph Holmes again. So I started over with that group, which was really incredible. And then I moved to New York and I freelanced a lot. I danced with Evidence, which was another like formative experience for me, because the relationship I have with Ron, though the seed was planted there with me as a dancer, we have had such a long friendship, and we've become colleagues, which is really incredible. It's just, and that same thing has happened with Aiga. I have also worked with him, not as a dancer. And I guess that takes me to why I say my paths have taken me away from dance. I have always been interested, like I said, in fashion. So I had the opportunity to work in fashion, and I did it for years, and then I got into The Lion King not so long after that, and I was in The Lion King for 7 years as a swing and a dance captain and an understudy. And when I first got into the company, I was like, I had this idea about Broadway that I learned was not the thing. I thought it's so easy. You know, you can like show up at 7:30 and you have the whole day to yourself. What was I thinking when I was, so young? I was like, no, I have to warm up, I have to take class, I have to go to voice lessons, I have to do all these things. My days are not fully my own. But one thing was I didn't have to worry about money. And so I had been doing like dabbling in just organizational work for my friends because at a certain point, when I early on in Lion King, I had an injury where I had to take some time off. And I ended up, Miguel Anaya was interning for Ellen Jacobs, and he was going back to dance with Bill T. So he said, do you want to take this internship? And I said, why, yes, I do. So I interned there and I learned a ton. And then talking to my friends who were choreographers and just getting started, like Roger Jeffrey, like Gregory King, Matthew Rushing, I would just organize things. Like I was like, Matthew, what do you need? Are you teaching? I can do I can organize it. I can keep your schedule. I can do these things because I was also really interested in that. And so when I got into once I had paid my student loans and I was in Lion King, I said, what can I do to support my friends? And I'm going to start my own company and I'm going to work for them. And I don't necessarily need them to pay me right now. I need to gain the experience and I know I can help them and they wouldn't be able to afford it, otherwise, because it's very expensive. So I did that. That business that I started, I did like party promoting, party planning. I did PR with my dear, dear friend, whom I love so much and who taught me so much, Fatima Jones, for many years. And that's where I met Cynthia, um, because we worked on a show that was happening at the Apollo when she was there. So I did that. I worked for a nonprofit. I had gone to South Africa with a dear friend of mine, Philip McAdoo, to just volunteer. And we were doing arts classes with young people in the community there. And it just so happened that like maybe a year after that, that organization was creating a new position for an external relations manager. And I started working there. So I worked at Ubuntu. It was then called Ubuntu Education Fund. Now it's called Ubuntu Pathways. And basically, it was my responsibility to develop relationships with people in the community and help spread the word about what they were doing and also support the fundraising and event efforts.
I have one question.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, it's time. One request. Can you pick up your notes and show everybody that you had many things to talk about tonight?
Y'all, why was I writing down things that I already know about myself?
Come on in, Vincent. So Toria's gonna come back because Toria's gonna come back. And Vincent is gonna come in for a little bit. And Toria, guess what? You've got a lot more to share later on. You've got a lot more to share. Come on in, Vincent. Hi, Villa. You better dance. Yes. You better enter.
Hi there.
Hi. Cheers.
Wait, hold on. Cheers, my lovely.
Welcome. Introduce yourself as if you didn't already, dancing down the aisle.
You know, you have to enter the space. Greetings, everyone. And thank you, Charmaine and the Black Dance Stories, your team, your crew, your posse. Thank you for this platform. I am in Towson, Maryland, on the unceded land of the Piscataway tribe. I give and I have so much gratitude to the musicians, dancers, actors, visual artists, writers, critical thinkers, and culture barriers that were here before on these grounds. I am Vincent E. Thomas, grandson of the late Johnny and Alberta Thomas and Warren and Mariah Brown. I am the son of Willie B. Thomas and the late Georgia May Thomas. I am a brother, an uncle, a nephew, a cousin, a friend, a godfather, an ally, and hopefully one day, another lover. I am a non-disabled Black gay male, professor at Towson University, and founder and artistic director of VT Dance. I am a Black male with warm mahogany skin, brown eyes, salt and pepper shadowed beard, closely shaved head, glasses for reading, and distinguishable looks. I am wearing a Black mock turtleneck with a patchwork Tibetan zipper jacket. In my space, adorned on the walls are colorful art pieces from South Africa and various travels. I smell the cleansing spirits of sage. I taste the refreshing sips of a vitini. Now, if you want that recipe, I'll give it to you later. I hear the smooth and mystifying voice of the late Jimmy Scott. So in this window, you get a glimpse of my world. And where should I start? I learned this prompt I come from during my time with Liz Lerman Dance Exchange. And this I come from version was developed by the poet Joe Barnes and the dance artist Celeste Miller. So I'll begin. I come from front porches and tire swings. I come from dirt roads and playing marbles and hopscotch. I come from newspaper walls and braided switches. I come from spirituals vibrating from my grandmom's bosom. I come from peach pies, collard greens, and cornbread, and oh, too sweet tea. I come from family reunions, church revivals, community love, community hard love. I am the sum of my experiences, the great, the good, the challenging, the not so good. So in this moment, I'm going to invite those of you who are watching to just go to the treasure chest, that chat collector, and put a short poetic statement about where you come from. And I'm going to just give you like 15 seconds to do that. I'm going to put my come froms in my body while you do that, and go ahead. Okay. So now my journey to here where I stand, sit, where I am today, and what a journey it has been. So I have to give you an image of my start in this movement dance life. It started in my living room, our family living room. That was my studio. That was my stage. And my dance teachers then, Don Cornelius in Soul Train, Dick Clark in American Bandstand, Hee Haw, the Lawrence Welk Show, And then Solid Gold with those costumes. Ooh, yes. So those are my beginning teachers. In addition to that, Fred Astaire, Ginger Rogers, Michael Jackson and the Jackson Five, the Temptations, Gladys Knight and the Pips, the Four Tops, and all those amazing groups that shuffled as they sing. Yes. So that was my beginning. My first dance studio was in my living room. And so I pay homage to that all the time because I know where I come from. I was also dancing in our community center and for community gatherings like picnics and family reunions and all that stuff where we would just get together and dance. And then I started doing talent shows with my cousin Earlene Brown. Now, I have to say that, I was singing, and so she and we would sing all these songs, and then I would choreograph them. I didn't know the word choreograph at that time. I was just making stuff up, making it up as we were singing because I was reminded of what I was learning from Gladys Knight and the Pips, Peaches and Herb, like all these groups. So we sang all these amazing songs. And, I look at it and I think about it now. And you know how people like pantomime their singing? No, 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 no. We were singing and we were dancing together. And so we did all of these talent contests, these talent shows in our town, in the neighboring town, and we won first place all the time. So who knew that that would be the start of something too? So then in middle school at W.E. Parker, I joined the band. And my band teacher, Mr. Hamilton Love, was a Black man. And I knew that I had a place in that band room. And then I joined choir. I was singing in the choir. So my school days in middle and high school were filled with marching band, concert band, jazz band, show choir, concert choir, musicals and plays, all that stuff. And then in marching band, I started to create movement things with those flags, rifles, sabers, oh my, for the marching band. Who knew? I was just I was going on instinct. Well, I realized, God, I've got a little knack for this too. So I continued teaching as I was drum major as well. Then in college at the University of South Carolina, I joined a winter guard, a winter color guard. It's the color guard that we put on a basketball court, and that was amazing. And then I had an electives because I was a music education major at USC in voice. And my elective, I took a jazz class. So the first formal class that I took was a jazz class. And this is what we did. The first thing we did, we stood up and we did this head roll. Oh, I was in heaven. It was euphoric. I got so hungry for this dancing thing that I started, after I ran out of electives, I started taking community classes in the community of ballet, jazz, tap. And then I took a couple of African classes in Columbia, South Carolina, and I was like, no, this is where I am. Then I went to the American Dance Festival in Durham, North Carolina in 1995 for 3 years, and that changed my life. Teachers, Donna McHale, Viola Farber, Gus Solomons, Betty Jones, like all of these people. And then I met Clay Talaferro. What an amazing, and he is still so dear to me to this very day. So I danced all summer, went back and was in musicals and teaching music, and then dancing at Columbia College, which was an all-female college in Columbia, South Carolina, a United Methodist College. Well, the dance teacher there, Libby Pattenode and Martha Brim, they snuck me in to take modern dance with their dance majors. So I would teach during the day. At the end of the school day, I send all the buses off and I get in my car and drive to Columbia College, go up the back steps to take modern dance with them. Amazing. Fast forward, Martha, I went to the first ADF intensive, winter intensive in New York City in 1996. There was a blizzard in 1996 in New York, and it shut New York down. And of course, that was a playground for me because I just went out and with friends and we just danced. It was amazing. I went back to South Carolina, to Columbia, and I told my principal, I said, something is nudging at me that I've got to figure out about this dance thing. So either I will, move to New York and see what I can do, or I don't know. My modern teacher, Martha Brim, said, well, why don't you look at grad school? I hadn't thought about grad school, but I did. I ended up going to Florida State, where I met the amazing and just had amazing teachers there. But that was when I met Jawole Willajo Zoller. I have to take a sip for that. Cheers to Jawole. Ashe. So Jawole rocked my world. And it was just so amazing. It was like we had been together at another time. She then introduced me before I graduated. She said, well, have you looked at the work of Liz Lerman? And I said, no, I haven't, because my mind was set on the Lamone Company. And so actually, the week of my concert, the week before my MFA concert, I flew up to New York and went to the audition for the Lamone Company. I think there were like 250 guys there. They were looking for one male. I made it down to the top 20. Yeah. Betty Jones she was in my spirit. And so they ended up taking someone who was already at the school. It was a huge lesson for me. So I went back to Florida State, did my master's concert, and Jawole said, you should look into Liz Lerman. So I'm listening to the universe, I'm listening to Jawole, and I did. I found out who Liz Lerman was so intrigued, auditioned for the company, and in between, after graduation, I danced with Randy James in his The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which was on tour down south. So I had to learn all of that stuff. And then at the end of that tour, I met Liz Lerman and the company at Bates Dance Festival. And that started my journey with Liz Lerman Dance Exchange. From there, it has been just an amazing, the years that I spent with them was during the Hallelujah years, traveling all over and performing and teaching and choreographing with community and then 2002, Towson University asked me to be a visiting guest artist. And I said, sure, I'll do that for a year or so. It's 2021, folks.
I was just gonna say, what year is this now?
I'm still there. But the universe is great. I was a visiting guest artist. Now I'm a full professor. Yeah. And I'm still doing my work because that was in my contract. I said, no, I'm an artist first, and I'm going to be doing this and this and this. And I love teaching too. And the dean then agreed, and it's just been an amazing journey.
Oh, wow.
So that is how I got here
Tonight.
tonight.
Oh, thank you so much, Vincent. Of course, more to come, y'all, from
Yeah.
Vincent. More to come.
Mm,
Deirdre, come say hello. See you in a minute, Vincent. See you in
okay.
a minute. Hey, Deirdre.
Charmaine. Oh my God, I love you so much, Charmaine. You have
Oh,
been so much. You've meant so much for me in my
cheers to you.
life. Thank you. And Miss Funga Alafia Ashe Ashe.
Well, cheers.
Oh gosh. I'm so happy that Vincent was still at, oh, cheers.
And yeah, I love you more. Don't start that. But introduce yourself, and you started to say something about Vincent. Carry on.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say I'm so happy that Vincent was still at Towson when I had relocated to Maryland from New York. He was one of the first people that I met when I got here, and what a welcoming committee he was. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Vincent, I love him. I love him. I love him. I am Deidre Nyota Dawkins. My Akan spirit name is Adra Nsia. I'm the great granddaughter of Dorothy and Essie. I am the granddaughter of Dorothy and Mamie, the daughter of James and Deborah, the daughter-in-law of Nania Densawa, who has passed, the sister of James Amir and William Rasan, the sister-in-law of Opari and Asantawa. I am the mother of Abanasewa, who is 15, and Adjua Nina Simone, who is 9. I am also the 40 plus years best friend of Janet. Oh my gosh. First, I would like to acknowledge Asasiya, Mother Earth, Biabosuni, and Samafo, my spirit guides and my ancestors. It is their work that I do. I obediently continue on my path of servitude with that in mind at all times. I would like to acknowledge that I am convening on the ancestral homeland of the Piscataway Nation in Baltimore City and Towson, and the Lumbee Nation, which were originally from North Carolina and now reside in Maryland. I had the pleasure of working with the Lumbee Nation during my graduate thesis at UMD College Park. I explored intersections between African and Native Americans pre and post-slavery. So I did a lot of background work on that thing. I am a descendant of the Blackfeet Nation. My grandmother, whom I lost to COVID last March, grew up on an Indian reservation in Oklahoma. So Native American blood runs through the veins of so many African Americans in this country. We joined forces when we first got here in order to survive, and beautiful unions were formed. So such a blessing. I'm a brown-skinned, non-disabled Black woman wearing my hair up in a bun. I have on a black turtleneck, brass hanging earrings, and a quartz crystal necklace that Nina Simone gave me for Kwanzaa. I'm wearing a burgundy shawl, and behind me are 2 palms and my ancestral altar. I'm a professor at the Peabody Conservatory, and I direct the dance program at Connection School for the Arts in Baltimore City. I'm part of a continuum. Therefore, I must take this time to honor my mentors, Kevin Iega Jeff, Amani A. Payne, the late Dr. Cheryl Berryman Johnson, Wilhelmina Taylor, Elena Anderson, and my newest blessed elder, Mama Rashida Foreman Bay. Because sometimes you go through life and, you know, people pass, they move on, and you feel like you need new energy and new support on this journey, this life journey. And, you know, Dr. Johnson, she was that for me. And when she passed, those shoes, you know, it was hard to fill those shoes. Those are some big shoes to fill. But I have gathered people that are very wise and watch over and check in at all times. So I'm just grateful to have that kind of support, especially with the work that I do. The quarantine time has been a tremendous opportunity for growth and reflection. It's given me time to bond with some of the most beautiful and fiercely educated Black women. We call ourselves the Panther Mamas. Mothers that have united to ensure that our beautiful Black daughters are afforded sound and just education as they navigate the campus of predominantly white institutions that they attend. I'm so grateful for that sisterhood, because you know that when Black Lives Matter came on the scene, things erupted on campuses, and we found out things that we didn't really like, things that were happening to our children that we didn't really like. So we banded together and put our minds together to figure out solutions to make sure that our children were protected, that our children were safe, and that our children understood where they were and who they were supposed to be while they are there. You know, they're still Black girls, they're still Black girls on this white campus. So we needed to make sure that was clear to them. We just put programs and stuff in place in order to assure that those things were taken care of for them. First of all, I'm a Brooklyn girl, raised in Fort Greene, grew up in Brownsville. My dance career began at the age of 3. My amazing mommy, Deidre Dawkins, she's a visual artist. And she was concerned because as a child, I never had too much to say. So she was attending Catherine Dunham dance classes at the old boys high in Bed-Stuy. And she was taking class from my very first dance teacher, who's Nina Garland. She allowed me to participate when I was 3, just, you know, going down the floor with everybody. It was there in the hallways of Boys High that UB Blake taught me how to do the time step. I didn't know what I was doing at the time, but UB Blake was just hanging out at the old Boys High, just chilling, you know? So we were in the hallway and he's just showing me stuff. I didn't know who he was. You know, I'm like 4 or 5 years old. I had no idea who this legend was that was teaching me how to tap in the hallway. Fast forward 4 years, my mom enrolled me in dance class at Fournier Gregor Performing Arts Center in Brooklyn. I took tap with Leslie Dockery, I took ballet with Linda Spriggs, and I took modern with Kevin Ayega Jeff. Lordy, 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 did that man scare me. I was just clearing 4 feet and this man was, what, 6'7"? Oh my God, he scared me. Oh my, I cried. I was like, Mom, I'm never going back in that room again. I'm never going back in there. I'm never going back in that room again. But you know, he was just this really loud giant that terrified me, but he was the best. He was the best. And my mom knew this. For some reason, she knew that he was the best. And she was a parenting parent. And she wouldn't even hear of me quitting. So she bribed me back into the room and, you know, with the Barbie dream house and some furniture and stuff. Yeah, and you know, I never got it, but it was enough to get me back into the room. And the rest is history. Ayega exposed us to teachers like Obadiah Wright, Aaron Duggar, Leah Cole Thompson, and African Pyrogrammics. He introduced us to the most amazing movers. Jubilation Dance Company. You know how people sit in awe at the Illy Company? I used to sit in awe at Jubilation. I was like, who are these people? These superheroes of dance. Who are these people? Oh my gosh. Crystal Hall, Aaron Duggar, Robin Gray, Quiera, Anthony Marshall, Dennis, his sisters Nisi and Laverne, Mustafa, Denise D'Souza, Sharice. I was mesmerized. We would just sit, you know, we're little ones. We're sitting watching these rehearsals like, wow. And that's when I decided that that's what I was going to do. You know, I was going to be like them. I had to experience that caliber of performing. So basically, I trained with Ayega. I followed him halfway around the world and allowed him to mold and shape me into the artist that I am today. And I just want to thank you, Ayega, and I want to thank you, Mommy. I honor both of you today and always. In middle school, I danced with Marie Brooks Caribbean Dance Company and Restoration Dance Center in Brooklyn. It was my formal intro to purely African-centered movement, Caribbean dance. And I specifically remember learning the dance swirling skirts. Oh my goodness, this dance, it was like you were the center of a flower. Your skirt was wrapped up and all of a sudden your skirt would unravel and your head is in the middle and this fabric is just going around your body. And it was just a beautiful, beautiful dance that is from Guadeloupe. So I always cherish that experience dancing with Marie Brooks. I ended up attending LaGuardia High School where I studied ballet. and Martha Graham Technique under the tutelage of Penny Frank and Elisa King and Deborah Zoll. And while I was studying, while I was in high school, I actually danced with Nanette Bearden's dance company. A lot of people don't know that Romare Bearden had a wife named Nanette Bearden that had a dance company. And while I was there, that's when I was introduced to Tally Beatty's work, A Rag of Bone and a Hank of Hair. We were dancing to Prince. You know, that piece was crazy. Oh my God. So that was my first exposure to that kind of thing. I was a scholarship student at the Ailey School. I remember Mr. Ailey passing us in the hallway one day. This was when it was on 42nd Street. And you had to walk through this really narrow hallway to get from class to class. I was a scholarship student. Denise Jefferson was in charge of us. I remember I got caught eating an orange one time when I was supposed to be working. Child, that evil eye. Woo! Never tried that again. Oh, God rest her soul, Denise Jefferson. We missed her. And then I was a member of Junior Jubilation. So even, while I was in high school, I was still training with Kevin. After I left LaGuardia, I attended New York City, Tisch School of the Arts, NYU. New York University, sorry. I studied with Alyssa Monte and with Twyla Tharp and Bill T. Jones. I performed the Arthur Viles solo in the history of collage. Bill T. Jones set that on us while we were there. I also discovered the house scene. Oh my gosh. I went to the party one time in the basement of a building called Leslie Dance and Skates in the Village on Broadway in Lafayette. I thought it strange that the floor was wooden and there were mirrors in dressing rooms. I walked past there during the day and literally walked into Africa because in the daytime it was Faretta. Oh my gosh. So that was my introduction to West African dance. I studied with, you can go there and take a class from 9 o'clock in the morning to midnight. I trained with, studied with Yusuf Kambasa and Madi Baswals and Bimba Bangor, so many people. Too many to even begin to try to name right now, but it was a serious challenge trying to be true to being in point class at NYU and then running down the block to do West African at Faretta. But I was challenged. I was determined to challenge that, staying true to each genre. That has always been my struggle and something that I always tried to be, authentic about, really staying true to those things. So after 2 years at NYU, Aiega announced that he was moving to Chicago and having auditions for a company that he was about to be the artistic director for. And Torya mentioned Joseph Holmes. And in order to be the company, I would have to relocate. So it was probably one of the most difficult auditions I have ever experienced in my dance career. It was a long audition. Made the cut, so requested leave from NYU. I think I was at the end of my second year when that happened. And I moved to Chicago. I ended up living there for 5 years. It was beautiful. Joseph Holmes turned into Deeply Rooted, and it was all love. While in Chicago, I met Imani A. Payne of Muntu Chicago Dance Theater. During our downtime with Deeply Rooted, I would take classes at Muntu. And I ended up joining the company. That was my West African stint. So I did that for a year or two, and then I headed back to New York City and joined Urban Butch Women. Women in the Butch. And I was there with Amara and Carolina, God rest her soul, and Kwame Ross, God rest his soul, Michelle and Maria and Kristen and Queen Francine. It was amazing. We spent our summers in Tallahassee doing Undoing Racism workshops, and it was amazing. It was an amazing experience. Eye-opening work in New Orleans, pre-Katrina, just a rich experience with Jawale. I left Urban Bush Women and walked into a Ron Brown dance class that Toria told me to go to. She's like, oh yeah, take this class. You gotta take this class. I'm like, what? I was in the club. This is the club. The rest is history. I was in the company. We were making history. We were doing things. The dancing was like, I can't even put it into words. It was like both of my loves came together. I could do modern and I could do a West African, and I can marry the two. And it was all love. It was beautiful. So I stayed with Ron for like 8 years, just amazing experiences. He took me to Cuba, he took me to Africa, and he introduced me to Dr. Sherelle Berryman Johnson. And that began my relationship with Howard University. But when I was with Ron, that's when I really began to tap into my own spirituality. I would visit Kimani Zulu in Queens often, and we would just talk for hours on end, just about being an African, being an artist, how those two things help each other. Just with that whole, just navigating all of that. And it was a wonderful thing. So those trips to Africa, trips to Cuba, plus talking with Kimani really shaped me into the work that I'm doing right now. I'm an arts educator. I work in Baltimore City Public Schools, and I decolonize minds. That's what I do. I show my beautiful brown babies the beauty within them. I teach them about Africa and living in this world unapologetically Black, whether the world affirms them or not. I teach them about the importance of health and knowledge of self. I'm currently exploring what tools we as Africans use traditionally through song, vibrations, and dance to heal mental illness and to really delve into our spirituality. So the pandemic has been devastating to our school community and every community that looks like mine. So I'm just really working on trying to figure out how to keep myself healthy in order to go back and do the work that I'm supposed to be doing in my community. Zoom, I'm all zoomed out, but
But I'm so glad you're here too.
thank you, Charmaine. But I love this. Anything for you, Charmaine.
Oh, thank you, Deidre. Come on back, Toria. Come on, Vincent. Y'all, there are a bunch of people here. So I'm going to try to do this fast. There are a bunch of people here listening to you all. Maria Bauman, Trebian Pollard, Judith Jones, Shoshana Jackson, I think, Elizabeth Zimmer, Akua Kuyate, Laura Marchese, Ariana, yay, Ariana is our intern. Sam Spees is here. Gloria Daniels, Amani is here. Amani Payne, Danielle Day, Stacy Dinner, Ann Davidson, hi Ann, Janet Davis, Cynthia Oliver, Shannon Judson, Nicole Martell, Deborah Dawkins, Dr. Burton, who was here last week, Jamal Story, Valerie Foster, Lori Uprichard, Jamal Barnes, Hank Smith, Susan Kirchner, Maxine Montelis, Brandon Booth, Laura Greer, and Nia Love. And there are a lot more people. I tried to get everybody. I did. I really tried. So I'm going to be gone for a minute. This is your time. Have a bunch of fun and just be okay with me when I come back and interrupt. Okay, please allow me that.
Oh my gosh. I was trying to think of a good, deeply rooted story, Torya.
I mean, there are so many. There are so many. I can't think of just one. But I want to say to both of you, thank you so much. I love listening to you. I also was like in that living room, cutting the rug, getting down. And we had a show in Detroit called The Scene that was kind of like Soul Train, but like, Detroit style. So yeah. And I'm trying to figure out, Deidre Dawkins, why it took me to sit here to listen to you here to learn some of this stuff. I didn't know about all your experiences.
So a lot of people don't know that side of me. I kind of, when I left Ron, I kind of went underground. I went to UMD to get my master's and that's when I started working in the school system. And there was such a need for this culture, for the African culture inside of the school system. So I kind of just jumped into it and just started studying and talking to people and talking to folks that were putting down, that the people that started really studying West African dance in this country in the 70s, Mama Makua Kuyate's on there. There's so many elders, Wilhelmina Taylor, people from International Black Dance Company, the first West African dance company ever
Mm.
in the United States. And I just got engulfed in that knowledge and just felt the need to pass it on because it was very empowering for the children to know where they're from and what they have to live for. That's what we've come to now. There's so many of us, so many of them checking out. They have to remember that they actually have self-worth and it is worth living for, so that's really been my work.
Mhm.
Wow.
Oh.
It just reminds me, like hearing both of you, it's just been so wonderful to hear the journey, the path. But if you look back over your shoulder and you look at the footprint that you're leaving, can we imagine what the young eyes behind us will see in that footprint? What do you think, Deidre?
Well, that old saying, you want to make sure that you live your life so that the preacher doesn't have to lie. Your funeral comes from Reverend Daughtry, House of the Lord Church. He's always say that. But I have two beautiful girls that will soon be two beautiful women watching my every move.
Yeah.
So I gotta come correct. I really must. They need to know when to move, know when to stay, know how to be creative in order to make ends meet. They need to know how to code switch. They need to know so much about this world. So I feel like I have to make sure that I'm living a certain way so that the imprint, like you said, is easy for them to slide right into, Yeah.
What about you, Toria?
I think about this a lot. And I guess I think authenticity is very, very important to me, but also expansiveness, not boxing yourself in. I think I dealt with a lot of, how should I call it? Not guilt, but just wondering, am I serious enough about dancing because I have all of these other interests? And I found a way to make all of those interests support my love for dance, right? And then to figure out how to cast what I learned pursuing dance in the direction that we're talking about right now, which is educating young people and working with young people. And I think it's liberating in some ways to acknowledge what you see in young people and also to affirm that. Not to say that everything they do is right, but to say you are worthy of standing in your own truth and holding other people accountable to make room for you to stand in that truth, no matter where you are. Code switching, we talk about that all the time at a broader way. And I work with young women that they're like 10 through 13. And then there's another extension program that takes them through, I think, wait, let me get this together. Like 19. So like, let's just say 10 through 19. And it's not a art specific program, but it's leadership through arts training. So I've spent, say, the last 10 years really, really thinking about this. Like, what about what we do has taught us to be strong leaders? And I think it takes a lot of pressure off of them to say, I see you, I understand, I want you to be fully expressed. I want everybody to be fully heard, and I want you to be honored. And then we can work toward, are you also honoring everybody else? Are you also holding yourself accountable? Are you, you know what I mean? So hopefully that's what people see, when they look at my journey.
Yeah, I appreciate that from both of you so much. And so much of it rings true for me too. I say a lot of times, stand in your power and then having to really deconstruct that for the students so that they understand where those lines of authenticity, integrity, come from, and truthfulness come from within themselves so that they can be vulnerable just standing and knowing that they are enough, that they are seen, they are heard, they are valued. So I really appreciate all that both of you have said. I echo all of that. And it still happens even, in all levels of education, even at the college level, these students are learning to understand what it means to be authentic and to live a life of integrity, even when it's not popular with your fraternity boy or your sorority girl, So, as educators, we teach so much more than just the step,
You got that right, Vincent.
Mm-hmm.
And you were talking about at the university level, and I was put into, I took the job at Peabody, but I was like, what am I really going to offer to these students? This is a predominantly white institution, and I don't usually deal in that circle. So what do I really bring to this? And then Black Lives Matter hit. I was like, oh, that's why. And it was right before I had arrived. So we've just been talking about culture, Black culture, the transatlantic slave trade, the sub-Saharan slave trade, the history of Americans in the United States, the history of Africa, and just enlightening them to all of the contributions and all of the things, all of the rooted dance things that they didn't know before. It's just been such a great learning experience for them. So I think that was why it was already planned. It was divine intervention before I even knew why I was being sent there. That was my work.
Yeah.
So like you said, it's way beyond dance.
Yeah.
Before she comes back in here, I've got an idea. Why don't we grab the closest photo to you and share it with each other?
Oh.
Ready, set, go.
Photo?
The closest photo.
Oh man, I gotta go to another room. Okay, I'll go get some.
Wow, where did they go? Y'all left me. Oh, you got one?
I have one.
Okay.
This is Doris Hunter this is Dorothy Lomas. This is my mom's mom. She's the one that just passed. Right? And
Beautiful.
Blackfeet Indian. It's so funny because this picture of her and my high school picture, they're identical.
Wow.
Exact hairstyle, same exact.
Well, here's mine. That's my family. That's my mom. She passed away last May 2019.
Mm.
Wow.
My dad, my older brother, my younger sister, my older sister, and myself.
You all have the same smile, Vincent.
Isn't that crazy? I was looking at that. That's crazy.
What you got, Toe?
Now I'm gonna feel bad because I don't have a picture of my family. Okay, I just moved and I have what I have. Okay, so I actually grabbed two because they were the same proximity, and you may not be able to see this, but this is a picture of my Lion King cast and I. And then this is a picture of our recent cast from dancers that were at the Joyce with Ayodele and Arturo O'Farrell last year.
Yes.
My loves.
Yes. And I wanted to see that show so bad.
Oh yeah.
Yes. So bad. Oh, that was fun.
It was fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you gonna tell us what's in your
my bikini?
your
Okay. All right. So I'll try to keep it PG, but okay, so you get some really good vodka. And then you get some cranberry juice, like real cranberry juice. And then some ginger beer, the best ginger beer you have. And you mix those together like equal parts. I didn't have my mint or my ginger accent to go on here, and that's my Vitini. It's healthy.
That sounds so good. It sounds good. I'm gonna make it.
Yes.
That glass was full when we started this.
I know.
I kept toasting. I was toasting Torya. I was toasting you. I was toasting everybody. Refill.
Well, I'm doing okay over here still.
I know I still got a tiny bit left. But
Yeah.
you have like 3 drinks over there.
I know.
I
know.
So what is next for you all artistically?
Okay, I'm so glad I'm back. First of all, Vincent, I'm feeling some kind of way.
Why?
Y'all, before she comes.
That was just pure love.
Listen, I don't appreciate the she.
It was pure love.
I'm gonna get you though, Vincent. Just you when you put on your okay.
That's that Malcolm X hat. You know that Malcolm X has when he's sideways like that? Mm-hmm.
I have nothing but love for you, Mama Charmaine.
Yeah, I'm still feeling some kind of way, but it's all good.
I felt the love.
You felt the love.
Look, and you got your cohorts in on it too. Look.
Like,
All right, so there's one question so far, and then of course I know you all have more to talk about, but Cynthia Oliver, it's a lot of people here, a lot of people, and they're not dropping questions. They're having a good time in the chat, and they're loving how beautiful you all are, and they're saying sending so many fabulous, y'all are looking good, you're great, yes, amen, hallelujah, ashe to all of the things that you've been saying. However, Cynthia did say, interesting to hear Toria talk about fashion and Vincent clearly pulling in the style for this talk. Can they all talk about fashion and style in their works? Connections to Black dance. Ashe, ashe, ashe. And yes, Deidre, that's to you too. I think Miss Toria, I think Toria Beard, fashionista, should go first.
Oh, wow. Well, I will say this. First of all, hi, Cynthia. I wish I could give you a hug. But I will say I was oftentimes, how shall I call it? Not chastised, but spoken to about my choices, my fashion choices in rehearsal, my hairdos on stage, many other things, right? Because I love a trend. I love to like experiment with a trend. And so sometimes my hair was too short. I couldn't make it into a bun or whatever it was. But I think I started dabbling in like costuming people, even though I can't make a costume. I can buy things, I can cut, I can, hand sew, I can pin. So I started doing that, just working with friends who would allow me that freedom, which I really appreciated. And I actually went to FIT to just study styling when I first moved to New York. And so I did that for a little while. Like I was a stylist assistant and getting the clothes, taking the clothes back and all that stuff. But how it shows up in my work, I think I'm very particular, I guess, about what people wear on stage. And I like to partner with people who actually are stylists and costume designers. I think it's part of the communication. It's part of the delivery method for what we're trying to say is what we're wearing. And I also think it's really important for dancers and actors to feel comfortable, to as much as possible to feel good in what they're wearing, because if they're fighting with what they're wearing, it's hindering their performance or the way they feel. So I also like to collaborate with the artists too, just to make sure that they're cool.
They're cool. Yes. Deidre?
I was about to say, Toria has been styling me for years. Honey. Tell me how to do my makeup. She do my hair. She used to come in with the new fashion in the studio all the time. You know, always that person, honey. Always styling. But in my work, I think I do a lot of traditional work. So, you know, it goes hand in hand. I try to bring it to the present, so maybe mixing some jean fabric with African print fabric. But like she was saying, you have to be comfortable. There's nothing worse than you being on stage trying to dance with wardrobe malfunctions. It is the absolute worst thing that can be happening. You run off the side of the stage. I remember one time we were performing and my strap broke off, but our costume person, Mecca Cherry, was in the wings with the sewing needle, the pins, whatever. So you ran off, you got pinned, and you ran back on. But you know, those things, you got to really consider all of that. The costumes that actually work for the dancer, for the piece. Yeah.
Sir Vincent?
Yeah, that's such an interesting question. So when I think about my work, I want the dancers, the performers, the artists to just be humans, to be human beings, you know? And so that within that comes the comfort. Now, secretly, I do I do yearn for that fashion gene that I didn't get, but I rely on people that is their ministry. You know, I think about my wonderful collaborator, Travian Pollard, who is like costume.
Remember, Travian is listening.
Oh, hey, Trey. Yeah. Yeah, but he's like, I'm just amazed at how people come up with these things that tell stories and then they put their bodies in it to move. I don't have that gene, but I do like to collaborate and work with people that have that.
Yeah, same here, Vincent.
Yeah. Yeah, I honor them.
And what do you think about now, the personal? Because Toria she says she follows trend. That's a whole other story. But what do you think about now when you want to get your fashion on and it's the Zoom world and you really look in the closet and go, where am I going?
Yeah.
Are you stifled?
You know, I don't think, not for me, because, you know, I like to just kind of find something in the closet that I haven't worn in a couple of years, if I haven't thrown it away. But this particular piece.
Talk about it.
So I looked outside this summer and there was a market happening on the street. So I went down, down to the market, and there was this tent with all these amazing like pieces of clothing. And so I just took about a half an hour and I tried on several things and I bought a couple of things. Yeah. So I wasn't stifled. I love running into things like that. Like it wasn't planned. It was just see what's out there. So that's what I did.
I always find that I have to buy danceable clothes. All of my clothes have to be functional. I have to be able to do a 5, 6, 7, 8 hit a step and whatever.
In your living room.
In my living room.
Just in case.
What about you, Toria? Are you stifled?
Actually, no. I feel somewhat liberated because at first I used to wake up every day because, you know, at the beginning of the pandemic, we were like a couple weeks, it'll be fine. You know, let's just, so I would wake up and put on like an outfit, whatever that meant to me that day. But then I was like, oh, we're here. I can wear sweats all day, every day. And it's kind of what I've been doing. So I'm happy for moments like this where I can like put something on, but I don't feel stifled. I'm I'm seeking other ways to express my creativity, and sometimes it is just getting up and getting dressed, but I'm finding other things to do now.
And speaking of finding other things, Toria, a broader way, what's the age range?
It kind of varies a little bit. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but the girls come into the program when they're going into the 6th grade. It's the summer before 6th grade. So for some people, I think that's 9. For other people, I think that's 10 years old. It's a 4-year program. And then there's a 2-year extension program, which Ayodele and Sydney Morton run, called the Leader in Training Program for older girls. And then they can also become interns at a broader way.
So up to 19, right?
Yeah.
And Deidre, how old are your students?
Yep, I have the same age group, 6th through 12th grade. That's that crucial age. Where they are really coming into themselves. And if you, like you said, so you get them before 6th grade, and you groom them all the way through high school, chances are they're on a nice solid foundation.
Yeah. And then they go to Vincent. All college, right?
Yes, but I also teach middle and high school men's ensemble for Baltimore County. And these are young men. We meet every Tuesday night from 6 to 8 in the spring. And because of the pandemic, we're not meeting this particular spring, but I do work with the middle and high school young men.
And so that was my question about being with them during COVID. What are 2 highlights that all 3 of you have had to reach back and bring to the fore?
COVID teaching. I mean, I think the best thing for me is being able to just share my screen whenever I feel like it. You don't have to, you still plan, but it's a different kind of plan. You have to set up your projector. You don't have to do all of that kind of stuff. Everything is right here ready. And they can share their screen. It's just that the ease of technology, I think, has been a plus for me when teaching. And being able to expose them to different artists that may not be in your same city, them being able to take master classes and experience, stuff. I've been able to dance with Deeply Rooted quite often. I'm so happy about that. Virtually. So yeah, that's the beauty of Zoom.
I think for me that something that I had to reach back to bring forward is grace. Because, and I think, just this platform, the students, they need grace with whatever space they have, whatever internet service they have, their learning modes that they have. And I need grace and
How about that?
They can hear me, they can hear the music, like all that stuff. Like, no, just give me a moment. Give me a moment, but to give myself grace in those moments to know it's all right. It's gonna be all right. So that's one thing that I know that I have brought forth from behind me. And it's like, did we forget how to give ourselves grace?
Toria?
The heater is back on, so if it's too loud, just let me know. But something I've had to reach back and bring forward, I think, is being fearless in the way that I was when I was younger, and leaning into that and remembering who I am, who has poured into me, and all that I have to pour out into somebody else. And because of that, I feel like I move forward a lot more boldly at a broader way. And I also partnered with the CEO of a charter school system, elementary and middle school. Her name is Dr. Charlene Reed, to create a whole new arts program for that 10 school system that happens during school hours. So half of their day is dedicated to the arts. So, I mean, it didn't seem like the ideal time to do it, but why not? Why not be fearless and try it, you know? And it's been going great. So,
So they need that more now than ever.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Healing, so they need to do the art.
It's time. It's time to say goodbye. Ain't it crazy?
Oh,
Amazing.
Sing, right? Time to say goodbye. Vincent, Deidre, Toria, is there anything that we forgot? Anything coming up that you would like to let our beautiful BDS family know about?
I have a premiere of a new piece with my collaborator, Thomas Tiger Moore Jr. And the interesting thing about Thomas is he was a student at Towson in my men's class who, when I saw him, I said, "You've danced before." Well, he auditioned for the department, made it into the department, graduated with his BFA, is doing dancing in New York with Johnny Mercer, and just a fabulous artist. So we have a premiere coming up in May, and I'll let everyone know when that is. It's the middle of May.
Absolutely. We have a website and we trying to keep people up to date there. See Maki dancing, that's right. Toria, Deirdre.
I have a very strong creative partnership with Ayodele. We've been working together for a while, so keep your eye on her because she's more visible than I am. But we have a couple projects coming up. One is a show that will be streaming in April, hopefully, called Chasing Magic. And then we're also working on a dance festival for Little Island, which is going to happen in September. Oh, and A Broader Way is doing a festival in March. I think it's the 12th and 13th. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun. So come check us out.
Details to come, right?
Yeah.
We got it. Deirdre?
Peabody Spring Dance Concert. Just keep your eyes open, and I've been trying to get this piece finished for so long. COVID hit right in the middle of everything, so I've had to redo with virtual life in mind. So that's been a challenge, but something in the spring, definitely.
don't forget to let us know, please.
I will, Kimani, definitely.
Thank you all for another fabulous night, evening. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I turn it to Makita. Oh, and then come back to me.
Yes.
Right. Yes, thank you. And to everyone that's watching, a reminder to like and comment on this video. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on our social media so we can grow this beautiful BDS community. Next week is Gay Nell Sherrod, Brenda Dixon Gothschild, and Duana Smallwood. So make sure to save the date and we'll see you next week.
Yes.
And back to Mama Sherman.
And I'll take it. And I'm going to really say goodbye, but when Vincent, you were talking about grace, that's exactly how Maki started today's episode. Y'all give yourself some time for sure, but for sure, go on out and get into some good trouble.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yes.
Cheers.
Cheers.
See you next week.